Welcome. So today I'm doing my second Brothers War sealed. My first attempt actually went really well. It was quite surprising. In fact, I was on 1 win and 2 losses. Wasn't looking good, and then I went on a bit of a run, and I got to 6 wins and 3 losses. So I got my entry fee back. So we'll see how we do today. So I've got 7,500 gems. So it's probably enough to do 4 more of these, because you always get at least 200 gems back. So even if I lose every game from now on, I'll be able to afford 4 of these. And I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to keep going until I'm out of gems. Because I figure that I can always get my gems back later by doing quick drafts. So we have some lands here. Yesterday I got a really good black card and 5 artifacts. Here I can see we've got 3 lands. But let's start in the top left corner. Right, Rootwire Amalgam, 5 mana. 5/5. You can prototype it for 2 mana to get a 2/3 for 1 green and 1. Okay. And its ability is 2 green and 3. Sacrifice Rootwire Amalgam. Create an XX colorless golem artifact creature token, where X is 3 times Rootwire Amalgam's power. Against haste until end of turn. Activate only as a sorcery. It doesn't die at end of turn. You get to keep it. So if you get the 5/5 version, you triple its power, and you get a 15/15. So actually, yeah, if you spend 10 mana on this, you get a 15/15 token with haste, which is pretty cool. That's a pretty huge creature. Now, if you prototype it and then sacrifice it later, you're just getting a 6/6 with haste. And it's not getting sacrificed at the end of the turn or anything. It's just going to sit. It's going to stay alive. So that's that's a pretty huge creature potentially. Let's look at our first land here. Argoth, Sanctum of Nature. Right, enters the battlefield tapped, unless you control a legendary green creature. Okay, you can tap it for 1 green. Then for 2 green and 2, and you tap it, create a 2/2 green bear creature token, and then mill 3 cards. Activate only as a sorcery. Okay. Effectively, you're tapping 5 of your lands, because you're tapping Argoth, Sanctum of Nature as well. So, yeah, that's a pretty good land. It's sort of... Our rares are looking quite green as well. I don't know if you want to mill 3 cards necessarily. It kind of commits you to playing a bit of self-mill stuff. And of course it melds with Titania Voice of Gaia, which, unless we have a Titania Voice of Gaia, no we don't, we are not going to, it's not going to matter. But we can look at Gaia Incarnate. Vigilance, Reach, Trample, Haste, Power Toughness equal to the number of lands you control. When Titania enters the battlefield, return all land cards from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. Okay. For 4 mana, put 4 +1/+1 counters on target land you control, and it becomes a creature with haste. Okay. So, yeah, seems pretty good. But yeah, just the land on its own is pretty nice, I guess. Can make 2/2 bears for you late game. Okay, we have Llanowar Wastes. So this is the green-black Painland. That's interesting. So we've got the the Painland series continued from Dominaria United. So in this set, it will be all of the oppositional colours, enemy colours that are going that you're going to get lands for. So we've got the green-black version. I might be wrong actually, because we've got brushland as well. Green and white are of course ally colours. But so far it's looking like we could play a green deck, we could splash black, we could splash white a little bit easier, which is interesting, just from the rares. We have Loran of the Third Path for 3 mana, 2/1 Vigilance. When Loran enters the battlefield, destroy up to 1 target artifact or enchantment. This reminds me of Uktabi Orangutan. You can tap Loran, and you and target opponent each draw a card. It's interesting. And then we have the Mightstone and Weakstone, which I happen to know this melds with Urza, Lord Protector, and you get this legendary planeswalker of Urza. So, yeah, 5 mana legendary artifact. When the Mightstone and Weakstone enter the battlefield, choose 1. Draw 2 cards. Target creature gets -5 and -5 till end of turn. Okay, cool. So it's yeah, it's a 5 mana removal spell. It can draw you some cards, and you can tap it for 2 mana. So it's like it's a bit like Meteorite. That was the one which that's the artifact that does 2 damage to something when it comes into play. But you can also tap it for mana of any colour. So this is a pretty heavy-duty Meteorite. You can use for card draw. So we will continue. Now, interestingly, in my first sealed deck, it told me down here that I got 2 extra rares. And I notice it did not do that today. So maybe for your first sealed, you get a couple of extra rares. I was kind of hoping it would be every time you'd get 2 extra bonus rares, but I suppose not. Maybe only a chance you get. Maybe it could be to do with the special cards you get. It's actually in the list here somewhere. They're called, yeah, retro artifacts. So you've got a chance of getting retro artifacts, I think. But actually, we'll just check first of all. Did we? All right, you can't actually filter that. Okay, fair enough. So we'll just I'm going to go through color by color, and we're going to determine really what cards are playable. So I usually I use the BREAD acronym. So that's that stands for bombs, removal, evasion, aggro, and dross. So yeah, I'm just when it comes to removal, I'm looking for kind of unconditional removal. So I'm not really counting combat tricks. We've got Loran's Escape here, so this is a protection spell. This is something I will skip past generally and come back to later, because you've got to get a sense of whether there's anything really important you have to protect before you add this to the deck. So we'll skip this. Meticulous Excavation. I had a look at this yesterday. We managed to get 2 copies here. So so this is a really good combo card with Unearth. It adds value to any Unearth cards you have. So when you unearth something and you use this to bounce it, it gets exiled and then it gets returned to your hand. And you can do that once per turn. But what I realised is it's quite mana intensive to do all of this unearthing, and yesterday I was using an artifact to sacrifice things when I brought them back, which yeah, I had the artifact that lets you sacrifice a creature to make a 3/3 zombie. But doing all of that is quite mana intensive. So yeah, actually, what we can see here, just looking at the artifacts, I thought I'd have a quick look. Yeah, this is so on Bonesaw we've got the symbol for the retro artifacts. So yeah, you do get a few reprints in uncommon. So I'm not quite sure how the extra rares work. I'll have to look into that. Anyway, we've yeah, meticulous excavation. What we'll do is we'll just include this for the moment, just to remind myself that I've got this, and it could work really well with Unearth. Right, Survivor of Coolest, a 1/1 first strike for 1. You can exile from the graveyard to scry 2. It's, yeah, kind of interesting, but a 1/1 first strike isn't hugely impactful on the battlefield. If you can pump it up, that's a different story. I like the scry 2. That can help you sort of dig for land, things like that, if that's important. Interesting, but I'm not. I guess I'm not bowled over by this. I'm sort of. This has got. I feel like this needs other cards to be good. Right, Ambush Paratrooper has flash and flying. It's a 1/2 flyer for 2, and it can pump your team for 5 mana. I think this is maybe just about relevant. I think you think of it as a removals card for 1 toughness creatures, particularly 1 toughness flyers. And then it's got a bit of late game utility, sort of. You can, if there's nothing better to do, you can pump the team, which could be quite good. Yeah, we've got recommission again, so you can bring an artifact or creature back with mana value 3. Creatures get an extra +1/+1, so this is kind of good. So if you could, for example, do this on Survivor of Coolest, and you'd get a 2/2 first strike. But I don't think it's only good in certain circumstances and in certain decks, I think. So we'll just skip this for the moment. Right, Lauren of the Third Path we like. There's so many artifacts in this set. That's going to find a lot of targets. So I think this is just straight up card advantage removal. So that's a pretty good one. Prison Sentence is good removal, and it even lets you scry for 2. It's basically a pacifism. Okay, you've got so Veteran's Powerblade has turned up because it's got white mana in the equip cost there. So this is the kind of thing that maybe goes well with Survivor of Coolest. It's cheap to equip, and you end up with a 3/1 first striker. But I guess the thing is that combos are kind of inherently weak, because you kind of need each card on its own is maybe not that good. It's unlikely you're going to draw both of them. You kind of need each card to be good on its own. So on to the next one, Warlord's Elite. So this is a 4/4 for 3. But it does have this additional cost. You've got to tap 2 things, so it could be just a 4/4 for 5 mana if all you've got is land, but you can tap artifacts or creatures for the additional cost as well. So I think this is quite good. The Ocean Medic, 1/4 lifelink for 3, so I don't think this goes in every deck. I think it's okay. It's a decent wall, better for a control style deck. Right, Thopter Architect. Okay, that sounds interesting. Right, it's a 2/3 for 4. Whenever an artifact enters the battlefield under your control, target creature gains flying till end of turn. So typically that'll happen on your turn, unless you've got a flash artifact. So yeah, it's a good way of giving your guys evasion. I think that's quite good for the evasion sort of category. But it's what they call below rate in terms of stats. For 4 mana, you hope that your creature is at least a 3/3. But I think maybe the abilities makes it worthwhile. Okay, repair and recharge. Return target artifact, enchantment, or planeswalker card from your graveyard to the battlefield. Create a tap power stone token. Nice. So it's one of these cards that's making a power stone, so it's helping you ramp and get a bit more mana into play. And it's a little bit like Recommission, except it can target anything. Could be okay. Yeah, in fact, I think that's good enough that I'd include that. That can target artifact, enchantment, or planeswalker. Whereas this only does artifacts and creatures. Okay. We have Tekosia's Onulet. 4/4 creature for 5. Gains you 2 life when it leaves the battlefield. And you can unearth it as well, so it seems like good value. I think things with unearth are pretty good. And we finally have the Combat Thresher. Now this is excellent because it's got that, it comes into play, you draw a card. You're probably usually playing this for 3 mana, just to draw another card. And then it's got double strike, so effectively it's doing 2 damage instead of 1. It's going to be good if you can pump it up with things, maybe a Veteran's Power Blade or something like that. So yeah, I think that is definitely good. Alright, look at the blue cards. We've got 2 Weakstone Subjugation, so this is one of these cards that taps things down. So that's good removal. Zephyr Sentinel. Human Soldier with flash and flying. Right, you can bounce one of your own creatures to its owner's hand. So yeah, this is pretty good. This is like a protection spell, but also a flyer. So that's awesome. Splitting the Power Stone, yeah, sack an artifact to make 2 Power Stone tokens. Yeah, this is definitely, it's one of these cards that's very dependent on the other cards in your deck. You need lots of ways of making Power Stones before you'd even consider this. So we skip that. Stern Lesson. Draw 2, discard a card, make a Power Stone token. That seems good. That's card advantage and a bit of ramp as well. There's his rebuff, so it's a counter spell, so it comes under the removal category, so that's quite good. 2 Wing Commandos, flying and prowess. So prowess, whenever you cast a non-creature spell, this creature gets +1/+1 until end of turn. So that seems like a solid beta, really, in the air. Pretty good. Right, Mightstone's animation, enchant artifact. When it enters the battlefield, draw a card. And Uncharged Artifact is a creature with base power and toughness 4/4. Yeah, this is good because you can just use it on a Power Stone, and it replaces itself. You get to draw a card, and 4/4 for 4 mana is quite good. Retrieval Agent, 2/5 for 4. And you can give them +1, -1 for 2 mana. It's quite expensive. I don't think this is very good. So it's basically a big blocker, just on the ground. Take flight. Oh, enchant creature. The creature gets +1 power and flying, and whenever it attacks, draw a card. So it doesn't even have to do combat damage. It's quite an expensive aura. But potentially it's, unless your opponent's responding with instant removal, this is giving you the card back straight away. So I think that's quite good. Desynchronize, that's a good removal spell. Yep, they can put it on top of their library. You're scrying for 2, so as well, so it makes it a little bit better. Pretty decent 5 mana removal. And Coilous Rock, which is a 3/3 flash flying. It makes a Power Stone token. Wow, that's quite a good common, isn't it? 5 mana 3/3. Yeah, that seems good. We'll look at these multicolored ones as we go. So Battery Bearer. It's a 3/4 for 4 mana. Creatures you control have tap, add colorless. It can't be spent to cast a non-artifact spell. So all your creatures become like Power Stones. Whenever you cast an artifact spell with mana value 6 or greater, draw a card. That's an expensive artifact before you draw any cards. See, so Takasia's Onulet doesn't quite trigger that, but Combat Thresher does. You can cast Combat Thresher with different mana cost, but does it, for the purposes of Battery Bearer, does it pay attention to the prototype cost or the cost in the top right corner? That's because it really ought to pay attention to the prototype cost, I think, but I'm curious about that. I would say, just on that evidence, blue looks quite strong. It looks stronger than white. We'll just, yeah, we picked 8 white cards, 12 blue ones. So typically in your 40 card deck, you want to play 17 lands, you have 23 cards. So if you can get 11 or 12 cards in 2 different colours, you've got a decent 2-colour deck. So blue's looking pretty decent in those terms. Okay, we'll look at black. So Ashnod's Intervention. Right, yeah, this is the combat trick thing. It's another sort of type of protection spell for your creature. So if the creature dies, it gets instead, or put into exile. It instead goes back to your hand. It's quite interesting, but I wouldn't place this as a high priority. You kind of need a plan behind this card. Disfigure, that's just a good removal spell. -2/-2. Gnawing Vermin. Okay, 1/1 for 1. Target player mills 2. When it dies, target creature you don't control gets -1/-1. It's okay, but yeah, it'd be good if you're planning on milling your opponent. it doesn't. I wouldn't count this as a removal card because it's only giving a -1/-1. It has to have. I'd say you have to knock out at least 2 points of toughness for it to count as removal. Emergency World, return the target artifact or creature card from your graveyard to your hand, and you make a 1/1 soldier. Yeah, it's quite good. It's okay. It's basically raised dead. Gixian Skull Flyer, 2/3 for 3. Beginning of your upkeep, if there are 3 or more creature cards in your graveyard, put a +1/+1 counter on Gixian Skull Flyer. Okay, so that's basically like a self-mill payoff. This starts growing once you've met that condition. So at some point, we don't include this. We've got to actually figure out if we can play self-mill. So we've got a Gnawing Vermin. Killzone Acrobat. You can sacrifice something to give it flying. So it's a bit of evasion. It's quite a pricey way of giving evasion, but it's also a sacrifice outlet if you've got creatures that want you to sacrifice things, which is going to be quite nice. So yeah, in fact, we don't include this yet because I haven't seen any sacrifice payoff, any reward for sacrificing things, apart from obviously filling up your graveyard. Moment of Defiance is quite a good combat trick. It lets you draw a card. It's probably one of the best combat tricks in the set. It gives lifelink as well. But I'm not that enthusiastic about just playing it. The Ravenous Gigamole, so yeah, this mills 3. You can get a creature card from the cards, so it's almost like these kinds of cards. There's a few cards like this, and effectively they're like letting you draw a card when you play them, which is quite powerful. But I'd want to play a dedicated self-mill deck with this, where I just don't care about what cards I'm potentially milling into the graveyard. So potentially we come back to this. What we would do is type in the mill keyword in the search like that, and just see how well supported the self-mill thing is. And that's pretty weak support, I would say. You also want to check graveyard. So, because a lot of the payoffs for the mill deck will not have mill on those cards, but they will have graveyard because they're looking at the graveyard. It's like Gixian Skull Flare, and also Overwhelming Remorse. This is a very good removal spell, so obviously we are interested in this. Interesting. That's a good card. So yeah, green definitely looking good. We've got the green-black uncommon spider as well. If we want even more reach. That's right, this one. You can sacrifice a creature when it comes into play and then destroy a non-land permanent. That does seem very good. But there's really there's almost no payoffs for self-mill, and there's very few self-mill cards. So we're just gonna that's a pretty good sign that we can just ignore all of the mill cards pretty much, or at least we know we can kind of downgrade them. They're not going to be that useful for us. I will actually just look up Unearth as well, because obviously you can get value from the graveyard by using Unearth cards. So yeah, there's a handful of these as well, so that is good to know. Because I think let's make sure, go back to the black cards. We got as far as the Gigamole, The Scrapwork Rager, I would say, is absolutely fantastic. This is drawing a card when it comes into play, and you can unearth it. So this is, I found this to be excellent fodder for the sacrifice. I played a red-black sacrifice deck yesterday, so that's definitely a good card. I'll chuck the land in, and yes, Skyfisher Spider is fantastic. So maybe there's scope for splashing black mana in the deck. I don't know if we did splash black mana. I don't think we'd played this figure, because part of the value of this card is how cheap it is, but if we're splashing black, we're going to struggle to get black mana. So I'm just going to cut this card for now, because it looks like we're not going to be that into black at this stage. Let's look at red. Mishra's Research Desk. Cheap artifact. So you can sacrifice it. So effectively it's going to cost you 2 mana to exile the top 2 cards of your library. You can choose one of them, and then until the end of your next turn you can play that card. So it's not just this turn, you've got next turn to play it. And you can unearth this and do that again. If you unearth it, it's going to have to be used right away, so it'll be 3 mana. But then you have until next turn to use those exiled cards. So yeah, it's a bit of extra card draw if you're using a red deck. I think it's not bad. I think we'll include this for the moment. Right, Monastery Swift Spear. So this is good for a spells deck. It's quite aggressive. See a lot of red decks with this guy. Mishra's Domination is... I think this is okay. I like the fact it's got 2 options. So it's like a giant strength, or it's removing a blocker. So this is not bad. Scrapwork Mutt lets you discard and draw, and you can unearth it, so that's quite good. Gets you through your deck, gets you rid of those excess lands. Whirling Strike. It's a combat trick, so we'll just sort of pass on this for the moment. Excavation Explosion, so this just deals 3 damage to any target, and it ramps you. You get a Power Stone token. It does cost 3, but and it's sorcery speed, but that's very good. I think Raise to the Ground. This spell can't be countered to destroy target artifact if its mana value is 1 or less. Draw a card. Interesting. It feels like a bit of a gamble playing this. This is the artifact set, of course. You can be fairly confident people are going to be playing artifacts. It's just sometimes this won't be able to take out the important target. This, I don't know, this might be really good. I think I want to include this just because there's a lot of artifacts. I've got the Tumical Scrapsmith, so this is another self-mill. Potentially it's giving you another card by collecting one of the artifact cards, so it's quite good, but we don't have a very good sort of self-mill strategy in the deck. I don't know, but that said, we've got reanimation spells as well. Yeah, I think yeah, we'll skip this one actually. Sibling Rivalry. So this is the gain control of something for a turn, but the little bonus is you get a Power Stone token. Okay, this one is good when you can sacrifice the creature you've taken control of. Mishra's Juggernaut, I think that's pretty good. Unearthing it to get a 5/3 trample haste for 1 turn is quite good. It's quite aggressive, and the Blitz Automaton is quite aggressive, so it could be a 3-2 haste or a 6-4 haste on turn 7. That's reasonably good, so pretty aggressive. I'm just going to do a little search for something, yeah, and it will be sacrifice. I don't think we have many sacrifice outlets. Yeah, we've got the Killzone Acrobat. Yeah, splitting the Power Stone. Okay, that self-sacrifices itself. As does that. Ooh, wow. Nice. Yeah. So they've got a few things that sacrifice themselves. Yeah, the point was sibling rivalry. We want to sacrifice another creature. So... Oops. So yeah, Killzone Acrobat. But you can only sacrifice things when you're attacking, so yeah. I think that... also splitting the Power Stone if we want to sacrifice an artifact that we've nicked. So I don't think Sibling Rivalry is going to be especially powerful, so we'll just skip that. And how many red cards did we get there? We got 2 black cards, we got 5 red cards. Okay, it's not particularly impressive, is it? I think... yeah, we just cut red. I don't think red is very good. There's a Scrapwork Mutt as well, which it's probably only on the research desk. You're only going to be playing these if you are playing red, I think. Now on to green, which we thought was going to be the crucial colour. It's got all the rares and things. Right, Argoth Sanctum of Nature is good because it's a land that makes bears. Bushwhack. Okay, so another category of card which is quite important is mana fixing. So this is really nice because you can either search for a basic land card, or it's a fight spell. Really good card. Only costs 1. Right, Sentinel Stalwart. So yeah, tap an untapped artifact or creature to add 1 mana of any colour. So this is a ramp card. Can help you cast your spells a bit earlier. So I think this is quite good. And it's mana fixing. It's mana of any colour, so you can, if you do want to go green, black, white or something, or green, blue, that's quite helpful. Right, we've got Giant Growth. This is, it's a combat trick, but it's one of the best combat tricks, I think. It's just very cheap and efficient. I think +3/+3 for 1 mana has always been quite good. But we just skip it for the moment. Just see if we can maybe fit this into the deck, or if it'll be particularly good. It'd be good with our double strikers. I say double strikers. I think I've just got 1. I'm thinking of the 1 mana first strikers. Could be good with those as well. Great, Gaia's Gift. Oh yeah, so this is a quite a good protection spell. +1/+1 counter. A creature, it gets reach, trample, hexproof, and indestructible. So this is a good protection spell, but also crucially, it's giving things reach. A lot of games are just decided by that 1 small flyer that you can't deal with. So I'd put this ahead of Giant Growth. I think this is potential removal. So, because it's kind of doing, it's quite good because it's just doing two jobs as well. It's also a protection spell. Argothian Opportunist, 3/2, 3 mana, 1/1. 3 mana, 1/1 creature. It gets reach, trample, hexproof, and indestructible. So this is a good protection spell, but also crucially, it's giving things reach. A lot of games are just decided by that 1 small flyer that you can't deal with. So I'd put this ahead of Giant Growth. I think this is potential removal. So, because it's kind of doing, it's quite good because it's makes a Power Stone token. Yep, that's absolutely fine. I think that's quite good. Bit of extra value, ramps your mana. Perimeter Patrol, 3/3 for 3 is a good rate, definitely, and it gets pumped up whenever you play artifacts. I think that is good. Alright, Wasteful Harvest, instant, mill 5. You can bring a permanent back from what you mill. So it's a little bit like an Impulse. Impulse is look at 4 cards and put 1 in your hand and the rest on the bottom of the library. This costs 1 more mana. So maybe not bad. Not that bad of a card. I think let's include this for the moment. We might cut it later. Right, Hoarding Recluse, yeah. I saw these earlier. So 4 mana, you get a 2/3 reach Death Touch. So it's kind of very defensive, a very defensive stat line. It's not too threatening in terms of beating down your opponent, but this thing is going to keep you alive. And it's got a death trigger. Yeah, when it dies, put up to 1 target card from a graveyard on the bottom of its owner's library. So you could kind of mess up your opponent's unearth plans with this, which might be good, or if I'm running out of cards, I might just want to not deck out first. So, or I might just want to put a card back in my library and then shuffle it, so I've got a chance of getting it again. I like this card. We have Tornos's Tinkering. Instant, 4 mana. Put 2 +1/+1 counters on target artifact, creature, or land you control, and untap that permanent. And if it isn't a creature, it becomes a creature. So yeah, it makes a 2/2 creature at instant speed. Or it's pumping one of your creatures and untapping it as well. It's kind of, I guess it's a creature. It's a bit of a combat trick. Hard to evaluate how good this is because it's only going to be a 2/2 creature for 4 mana, but pumping up one of your large creatures could be pretty good. I think we'll include this. Probably this is the first thing we cut, but I think it's definitely interesting. I'm going to include a brushland. And of course, Rootwire Amalgam. This is definitely the guy we want to be ramping up to. I want a 15/15 Golem token, definitely. Iron Craw Crusher. Worm. 7 mana for a 4/6. Whenever it attacks, target attacking creature gets +X 0, where X is Iron Craw Crusher's power. Okay. I see. So effectively it is an 8/6 creature because it can give itself the buff. And if you prototype it for 4 mana, it is going to be effectively a 4/5 creature. So that is a decent stat line, I think, for a 4 mana creature. I think that is definitely pretty good and worth playing. We're not quite finished. We're on to the artifacts. So yeah, that's Bonesaw. It's a cheap bit of power. Actually got, we do have a land, so I think this is quite good. So you can Surveil for 3 mana. If you've got nothing better to do, that might be quite good. It's just a matter of whether you can sort of fit it in your mana base, so we'll include that and figure that out later. Chromatic Star. Okay, mana fixing, and yeah, it lets you draw a card. It gives you the card back. Might be good. We'll include all of the mana fixing. Goblin Firebomb. Yeah, it can blow something up, but it costs a total of 8 mana. its removal, I guess, sort of emergency removal. Maybe we include it. Spectrum Sentinel, protection from multicolored, and well, you get life points if your opponent has non-basics. Okay, I don't think we're going to meet a whole load of multicolored things, to be honest. I think this is more for constructed play, maybe. So we'll ignore that. Elsewhere Flask is a bit of mana fixing. It also draws a card. Same for Energy Refractor. There's lots of these things that draw cards. And Ichor Wellspring, right? This is sort of the perfect sort of sacrifice fodder artifact. Not that we have much of a sacrifice, many sacrifice outlets, but this is worth considering. Liquid metal coating. I see, you can make something an artifact. That's quite good for that red removal spell that blows up artifacts. I don't think making something an artifact is all that useful. It's a very, very combo-y card. There's probably lots of ways that you can use it, but it's very combo-y. 2/1 flyer for 3 mana. And you can unearth it. Not very good, but it's kind of an emergency flyer if we think we're short of flyers. Supply drop is it's basically an artifact-based pump spell that lets you draw a card. I've considered this like the last couple of sealeds, but not actually played it yet. But we'll look at it again. We have the power plant worker. Oh, I see. They all do little... Cool. They all do different things. I had I had one of the other ones. The tower worker who makes mana. Right. So he's actually not bad. He's a 4/4 for 5 mana. And you can pump him up a bit. You can only activate it once a turn. Okay. Sort of an emergency big creature if you need one. I probably won't play this, but I'll just include that. Self-assembler, artifact creature, assembly worker. Confusingly, yeah, it's not the self-assembler assembly worker is not part of the team. Just thought I'd better double check that, but it's from an old set. 4/4 for 5. And you can find an assembly... Oh, I see, they're all assembly workers. So this dude can find one of the power plant workers. That's cool. That's sweet that they've done that and made more assembly workers for this to work with. So yeah, we'll include that. I don't know if we'll play those, but it's a nice idea. And we have the Might Stone and Weak Stone. So that's a good removal card. 5 mana removal card. And you can also draw cards off it. Seems good. Even without Urza. Argivian Avenger for 6 mana. Artifact creature Shapeshifter as well. That's interesting. Till end of turn, Argivian Avenger gets -1/-1 and gains your choice of flying, vigilance, death touch, or haste. So that's okay. It can become a 4/4 flyer. That might be pretty good, and you can give it death touch as well. Yeah, that seems good. So we've ended up, as usual, with a vast number of cards. Don't think there's anything else that I've missed out here. But I guess I've already cut red from the deck, and we can see that black is quite weak, really. Yeah, so we just yeah, we got, turns out we got quite a few green cards, so 14 green cards, 12 blue. Oh yeah, meticulous excavation is kind of an unearth, just an unearth kind of thing. I think let's keep things simple. Let's cut white, even though we've got, obviously that was a good card we just cut there. I think we cut the Ichor Wellspring, so I don't think we've got any sacrifice things. We'll just cut the mana fixing for the moment. Skyfish Spider, we might want to splash for that. We'll see what we can do. Okay. So yeah, we just cut everything apart from green and blue and some artifacts that seem quite good. So yeah, that's pretty good. That takes us to 46 of 40. We're really very short on 2-drops. I find this often happens. We'll just look at the 2-drops and see, you know. Yeah, it looks like we hardly got any 2-drops at all. So it's we either got a little bit unlucky, or maybe there just aren't very many 2-drops in the set. But it looks like we have literally one creature. We have a 2-drop creature and a 1-drop creature. Guess we should look at 1-drops as well. Yeah, if we look at 1-drops, then we've got all of these survivors of Corliss. I don't know if it's worth playing white just for these guys, really. I'm pretty skeptical. Red has the Monastery Swift Spear and a Scrapwork Mutt. We have a Spectrum Sentinel as well. Yeah, isn't that interesting? So usually you want to play in limited about 7 2-drops, and we're just going to get absolutely nowhere near that. We do have quite a few 1-drops, I suppose, as well, but, well, in terms of impactful 1-drops, I guess it's these 4 here. Weakstone Subjugation, Bushwhack, Sentinel, Stalwart. Goblin Firebomb is kind of a late game thing. In fact, I would say probably just cut the Goblin Firebomb. That's not going to be useful very often. Maybe we drop the Wasteful Harvest. Tornos Tinkering. Yeah, I think at that point, well, let's first of all have a suitable card representing the deck, and I think I'll call that end of part 1. And I'll just have to have a bit of a think to decide how to get this down to 40 cards. I guess I could say it's okay we don't have 2-drops because we're playing a lot of ramp cards, like Sentinel Stalwart and Argivian Opportunist. Maybe not that many ramp cards, but because we do have Bushwhack that helps us hit our land drops. Yeah, so we'll see what happens. Anyway, so yeah, end of part 1. Thanks for watching so far, and welcome back, guys. So I've put together a blue-green ramp deck. As we've established, I've got very few 2-drops, unfortunately. But I think the consensus out there is that the format is a little bit slower. Yesterday I had quite a fast, aggressive deck. Hopefully won't run into too much sort of black-red aggro, but I'm sure. Yeah, I think. Well, we can see that white has got some quite cheap creatures as well. That could be quite aggressive. I decided, on balance, I'm not going to try and splash for Skyfisher Spider. It is pretty good, but I've got the Llanowar Wastes. I'd have to run some mana fixing, so I'd have to run maybe Chromatic Star, Elsewhere Flask, Energy Refractor, and then thinking about what I have to drop for all of these sort of fixing cards. It's just a pain, really. I think I'd rather just keep it simple, play blue-green, play all my creatures and my my removal spells. As for creatures, yeah, we've managed to get 14 creatures. We've got to remember, Mightstone's animation is an enchantment which makes a creature. And we do have a land that makes bear creatures as well, which could be quite important. What else have we got? Yeah, that's about it. Got a decent amount of removal, so we've got Weak Stone Subjugation and Bushwhack. So that's 3. This is Guy's Gift is more of a protection spell, but it can give you reach, so you can maybe catch out a flyer. We have Desynchronize, and we have the Mightstone and Weakstone. So you've got a little bit more removal in this one. That's I think 5 out-and-out removal cards. I've got to admit, I am not as confident about this deck today. I felt a little bit better about the one yesterday. I've been actually putting off coming back to this deck. I feel like this might be the 0-3, so it's sort of. I think we've just got to get into it. It's a bit like going to the dentist and receiving your punishment. But we'll see how we get on. It is just Magic, and we are just in it for the. Really, we're in it for the cards. It's kind of a fun bonus that we can play a few games. This is not a good hand, but we've got blue and green mana. But our first creature is going to be on turn 4. Well, that is a fast start. Oh, look, that is exactly like the skeleton that comes back from the graveyard. We actually have a Zephyr Sentinel. That's a good top deck. He's going to have to deal with that. Yeah, this is like the persistent specimen, basically. The Stone Brain. Oh my, what is this? You exile it, choose a card name, search target opponent's graveyard, hand, and library for up to 4 cards with that name and exile them. That player shuffles, then draws a card for each card exiled from their hand. Each this way. How can that be good in limited? How does this guy know what cards I've got? That's very weird. Well, I'm going to play my Zephyr Sentinel. I'm not going to bounce anything, obviously. Oh, wow. We top deck a lovely 3-drop flyer as well. We've got the Flying Army here. So that's a sort of about a 5-turn. So he's got hit me with a Stone Brain. What card is he going to name? So he's playing 3 colours. Red, black, blue. Island. Interesting. So you can literally name island. Wow, okay. Fair enough. Yeah, I'm going to struggle now to... I didn't realise you could do that. That's brutal. Okay. Okay, I thought it was a silly card to play in limited, but maybe it is actually genius. I take it all back. And I can't do anything. So instead of 17 land, I'm playing a 13 land deck now. Thank goodness for that. We draw a forest. Okay, we have a Hoarding Recluse. There's a blocker, nice 2/3 blocker. Now, take flight, we could... Okay, yeah, that draws you a card as well. And you've taken out my Recluse. I guess that's not quite in the graveyard yet. We'll have to submit 0. We'll have to submit 0 on that. Take 3. Okay. Yes, let's play a Wing Commando. So we'll present lethal. See if he's got maybe a 2 damage sweeper, that would be pretty good. But yeah, I did not expect the Stone Brain, I've got to say. But yeah, I think I guess it's legitimate. It can mana screw your opponent. Not sure I would play it myself, but I did an incredible job there of just top decking all of my cheap flyers, which made my hand a lot better. Okay, we've got a 3-drop creature here. We can draw some cards. We've got a couple of removal. And we can play Argoth. We're actually getting to go first, which is quite nice. Doesn't seem to happen too often these days. Okay, so that's our big creature. We can prototype it for 4 if we want. Oh yes, that is a very interesting card. Right. Perimeter Patrol though, we'll go for. And we might very well prototype the Iron Claw Crusher. Okay, this guy's gone for 3 colours. Oh, Oh, what happened? So 2/4 reach. For 7 mana, look at the top 4 cards of your library. You may reveal an artifact card from among them, put them into your hand. Nice. You can. It's expensive, but you can dig for artifacts. I think that's pretty cool. Okay. Now we've got 5 mana. There's a chance we could get to 7, right? But if we play an artifact, we can swing in with this turn. Can stun lesson. We could play hoarding recluse. I think I like. Yeah, I like this because it's more damage. More damage now. So let's do it. I guess Stern Lesson can pump perimeter patrol as well. Oh, disenchant. Okay, yeah. Solid. More removal. Yeah. Okay. Nice. Lot of removal cards. Okay. I think that might be worth a Weakstone Subjugation. I'm not sure though. Yeah. And we'll play a Hoarding Recluse. Okay, we can probably discard this forest, I'm thinking. Right, I'm just going to swing in with a Recluse. Right, why did I not think about what that card does? That just cancels my Weakstone Subjugation, doesn't it? You can only activate that during your turn. I'm thinking maybe we want to desynchronize that. I'm not sure though. I think I'd rather do a Stern Lesson. That might pile on the pressure a bit more. Oh yeah, I like that. Yeah, I'm going to do that even though it's going to delay my wing commando. I think that's fine. I'd rather keep all these lovely cards. Oh, he has a Koilos Rock. That's nice. Right. He could have a counter spell here. The desynchronize will give him another Power Stone token. Also, I can't do it that and wing commando. Okay, I think we're going to play this and try and blow up his rock. Should I play the forest first? I didn't think about. Okay, Yeah, let's take him out. I did not think about counter spells. Perhaps I should. He had another Koilos rock. Oh wow. So that is impressive. Is he going to trade it off? No, he's got more removal, and he's going to kill it. Wow, that is incredibly impressive. Okay, how about my graveyard? What do I want to see again? Iron Crusher can go on the bottom of my deck, I think. I have a Wing Commando. Yeah, I think he's going to use his ability on his enchantment there. Okay, power plant worker, nice. And you can pump that by quite a lot. So that's potentially quite a lot of damage coming through next turn. I think... So I could start making 2/2 bear tokens. That's one option. I don't... Well, this is potentially just a chump blocker, isn't it? I think Wing Commando just wants to trade off with the rock, if possible. If I can get my desynchronize off on the power plant worker. But that is something I've got to watch for in the future. This card just basically nullifies weak stone subjugation. Okay, we'll desynchronize the power plant worker. He can use meticulous excavation, of course. But he didn't. Okay. Rootwire amalgam is pretty amazing. Ooh, that might just be the win next turn. I'm not actually entirely certain. I'm going to try and block like that. So just let's check if there's anything silly that's going to happen. Could of course bounce this back, I think. If I have 10 mana, I've got 4 here. And yeah, okay, it's going to bounce it back and replay it. Okay, that's fair enough. Now, yeah, so we can play a Rootwire Amalgam full price and have enough to sacrifice it and make a 15/15. Don't prototype it, don't prototype it. It's very tempting, but there we go. And then we're going to sacrifice it. Which will do enough damage to kill my opponent, so he's going to have to chump block. So I can get through with 3 damage with the other guys. He's got chump blockers, so he's fine. For a little while at least. He can only bounce, of course, on his turn with this. Wouldn't put it past him to have one last removal spell. So far he had Disenchant, Power Stone Fracture, and Disfigure. I find removal usually comes in like fours in limited. There's our Thran Spider. He's going to give everyone a Power Stone token. Very nice. You could just cast that with his Power Stones. That can block my Wing Commando. It's, I guess, pretty straightforward. We're going to swing with a 15-15 and that's it. Okay. And we could play this end of his turn. Can of course start digging for his artifacts. Oh my goodness, right, nice. 7/7. Copy of an artifact or creature you control. Okay. I see, so he's copying that, so it's got reach, which is kind of important. Stops my flying plan, but I will play my rock nonetheless. Okay, Might Stone animation draws me a card. Go for it. Okay, Zephyr Sentinel. Another flyer. Right, so if I do attack, of course, that has to chump block. This can eat a flyer. I can get through with 8 damage, though. I think I just attack with everything like that. Okay, it decided to tap all of my blue, I've just realised, so I can't actually play Zephyr Sentinel. How did I end up tapping all my blue? Because I think the auto tapper wants me to have green available for my Sanctum of Nature, I suppose. I hope that's not going to cost me the win here. You can swing in with 7. If he can give this double strike or something, I'm going to look pretty silly. It's a Scrapwork Rager. Okay, that can draw him a card. But he's tapped out now. Oh, one more. Now, if he's got a weak stone thingamy. Right. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and attack with everything here. Good game. Well, I was lucky. You only had 3 removal cards in the end. But yeah, that was a bit of a blunder with the not paying attention to his bounce enchantment. Got to watch for that one. Well, I guess I'm somewhat relieved now that it wasn't a 0-3 as I'd feared. Okay, turn 1, Stalwart. Turn 3, Commander. You've even got a turn 4 creature. That seems reasonable. If we want, we might be able to tap the Wing Commando to cast the Battery Bearer on turn 4. Ah, but we've hit a land. That's good. Okay, this is a rare Fauna Shaman. 2/2. Discard a creature card, search your library for a creature card, put it into your hand and shuffle. Well, that is very nice, isn't it? Just shoot us for a creature, and also gets to dump things in the graveyard. That is getting exploded. That makes a lot of sense, yeah. Okie dokie. Well, yes, we could have a 2/5, but Battery Bearer is going to get me to 7 mana next turn. By the way, swing back for 1. I think I don't want to block here if he does attack, in case he's got giant growth. And what is this? This is a 4/6. Oh yeah, another Power Stain token, nice. Can we just play this for 7, please? Oh, and we get to draw a card off Battery Bearer? Fantastic. Now, he's green-red. I wonder if... Well, he could have something that just destroys artifacts, of course. But green and red might struggle to deal with 6 toughness, is what I'm hoping. Okay, another blocker. You can give this double strike because you can power these with power abilities with these power stones. Right, we've got Desynchronize, or we could build up with Wing Commando. I want to slow him down a bit, so I'm going to get rid of his Chain Dancer. Lets me scry as well, which is quite good. It might help me find a An artifact to enchant. Okay. That's a power stone, and that's a removal spell. That seems a fine thing to have on top. We want to attack with Battery Bearer and Iron Crawler, and I'm going to pump up the Battery Bearer. That's my feeling. If he wants to double block the Battery Bearer, he can. Seems reasonable. Okay, yeah. Arbalest Engineers. Okay, right, gonna make a Power Stone. He's building up to something. So this will make a tapped Power Stone. I'm just going to play Wing Commando, aren't I? That's fine. So I think attack with these and pump the Stalwart, because this doesn't have first strike or something. Oh, he could have pinged the Stalwart, by the way. He's going to trade off there. Decent. Okay, and then Wing Commando. And I can animate this and do a lot of damage next turn. But he's got something big. Oh, and it gains him life. Okay. Right. Let's count my mana. 6, 7 mana. Just realised, so I can tap this guy down. But I can't do both of these things. And I guess I'd, on the whole, rather not lose a creature. Auto-pay that, and swing. Sure, let's put some power on there. That's 14, it's not bad. Oh no. Are you kidding me? Oh my god. Perfect. Yeah. That's, yeah. That's about right. Right, what removal have I got in the deck? That's my next question. Let's take flight on Ironclaw Crusher. And let's attack. Let's pump the Opportunist. Okay. I play this tapped. Yep. Good old Platinum Angel. So makes the game so much fun, doesn't it? So let's see if I've got any removal left in the deck first. Yeah, we've got through Desynchronize. Oh, he's got more ridiculous things. Foundry Inspector, Titania Voice of Gaia, I'm a bit worried about. Okay, what does this do? 3/4 reach. Whenever one-on-one land cards put into your graveyard from anywhere, you gain 2 life. Okay. Beginning of your upkeep, if there are 4 or more land cards in your graveyard, and you both own and control Titania and... Oh, and this. You have to both own and control them. Okay, he has killed one of my dudes. Okay. Might stone animation on this. Okay. So kind of the funny thing is, maybe it was a mistake to put the enchantment on this, but weak stone subjugation isn't quite what we need, unfortunately. But it does something. It stops him hitting me and killing me with the Platinum Angel. And I can play a perimeter patrol as well. "24 cards, and I've got 20 cards. Let's see if we can set a record for the highest negative life total that I've ever seen in a game of Arena. I'm just thinking, yeah, weak stone subjugation is definitely a thing that I have. A removal spell. Right, I will block with this 3/2 and assume nothing bad is going to happen. Okay. Fair enough. Trade off. Yeah, somebody was just talking. I was just yeah. There's a YouTube video. Somebody was talking about how the. I think we did it, guys. I think we found the other removal spell that actually kills things. If he has a giant growth, I'm not going to say good game because. Except he would have used the giant growth last turn. Yeah, somebody had a YouTube video where they were just talking about how these special artifacts kind of ruin the game a little bit. And I know what he means. Phew, got there in the end. That isn't very nice to come up against. That doesn't make the game fun. My other experience was in my first sealed game, sealed event game. The guy played a turn 4 Quicksilver Amulet, and I think I had a 4/3 and the 6/4 haster. I thought, I can't just sit here and not attack, right? He might have he can play creatures at instant speed with that card. I attacked into him, and of course he had something. He had Wormcoil Engine, so he had a 6/6 Death Touch Lifelink, I think. Yeah, I did not win that game. Right, I think we keep this one. We have a removal card. We have a turn 3 flyer. Well, that's a good start. And I don't really want to tap that down with weak stone subjugation. I want to kill that if possible. So I think it's a job for Zephyr Sentinel. Okay, ambush paratrooper. Nice. Warlord's Elite. Oh, he's going to tap all of his guys. Okay. That's slightly annoying. I was going to trade off, but yeah, I have to just play this guy. There's no two ways about it. That guy's going to smack me for loads of damage, and there's not much I can do about it either. We'll play a wing commando. Just worried about the paratrooper getting to pump the team soon. Because that could also be very bad. He's got blue in there as well, okay. I suppose that's the soldier's deck for you. Okay, no blocks. Okay, well, we could handle that with a Death Toucher. Because, yeah, I think that's what I'd prefer to do. And I think, on balance, we can swing in with Wing Commando. He might have a combat trick, and that's fine. This deck really has the belt and braces approach to stopping flyers. We've got flyers, and we've got reach creatures. Very handy that this guy has Death Touch as well. Does double duty. Can stop the big creatures as well. I think he's thinking about a removal spell, maybe the 5 mana bounce to the top of my library. Oh yeah, he's got 5 mana, he can pump the team now. That can be a 5/5, 2/3 and 3/2. But yeah, this card's definitely pretty good. Phalanx Vanguard, okay. It's not pumping the team. Right, I'm going to swing with Wing Commando again. And play the Battery Bearer. And just in case it's not enough flyers in the deck, I've got Take Flight as well. Oh no. Two stun counters. That's brutal. Okay. So, this is the guy that can pump the team. This is the guy that can find more creatures. This guy can do quite a lot of damage. There's I think maybe there's a chance I could top deck my 1/1 creature, and that can stop a recruitment officer. I think we just want to trade off for the most potential damage we can trade off for. So we'll take out the Phalanx Vanguard, it's called. Although the paratrooper, it would stop him pumping his team. Well, it's all pretty horrendous, but we can play Recluse again. And now we can subjugation Warlord's Elite. That seems like a pretty good situation. Do we dare attack him? He could swing for a total of 5 damage, by the way. I think we can't attack him. He could have, I don't know. Yeah, no, I'm gonna play fast and loose, and I am gonna attack. If he's got removal, then he probably won't be able to pump the team. That's my theory. Then I only take 3 damage, and I maybe have a reprieve. Please don't untap next turn yet. Thank goodness for that. He did not attack. Okay. He can pump. He's got mana to pump with this, so yeah, Wing Commando will die. That is worth pointing out. Let's play another. I could swing in with a Hoarding Recluse because I'm going to play another one. I think that's reasonable. I think I can just about get away with that. Then play another Hoarding Recluse for the hat trick. Oh, he might counterspell it. He has a Coilless Rock. Okay, that's what he was sitting on 5 mana for. And if he's got another tap down, do I just lose? Oh no! Oh no, he has Mightstone's Ambition as well. Oh god. That's horrendous. Right. I am pretty good for stopping flyers. Damn it. Okay, I'm going to take the extra point of damage. I'm going to trade off for his flyer. That's my theory. Okay, I'm going to look at my graveyard, please. Let's put Zephyr Sentinel on the bottom of my library. Okay. Right. Now, problem. I've only got 4 guys, and I'm on 3 life. It's very risky to do anything. But if I'm bold, I attack with Battery Bearer with Take Flight and draw a card. Right. And that potentially gets me out of this situation. Be nice if it got me vigilance as well. But this is yeah, this is a little bit risky. A little bit risky. Oh, that's a good top deck. Holy moly. Okay, let's tap down. You're 4/4. Decline. If I auto-paid that, I would tap all my creatures, wouldn't I, from the Battery Bearer? That would be terrible. Okay, he's got a land. He's got 2 creatures left. Oh my, 2 creatures, 2 cards left. Platoon Dispenser. He's going to draw a card off that. Okay. In the air, how much damage am I doing? Because this does not have reach. He's got 2 mana and 2 cards. If I desynchronize Mr. Ambush Paratrooper, I've got 7 damage in the air, I believe. Okay, that's a good top deck next turn. or this turn. Let's attack for 7, please. I think I did it. Nice. Close one. It's interesting. I felt I had to be a little bit brave and attack when I could get away with it, rather than sort of holding on and waiting. I don't know what what am I waiting for? I mean, he's just as likely to draw good cards as me, I suppose. So that's pretty nice. Okay, let's get on to the next one. This deck has exceeded expectations. Pretty good. Okay, 2-drop flyer, 3-drop flyer, and then a 4-drop. Perfect. Perfect hand. What could possibly go wrong? And I'm even going first, which is absolutely amazing. Ooh, these are very scary card backs. Another 4-drop. What on earth is this? Okay, it can make an XX, and you can unearth it. Oh boy. Okay, I will play my Zephyr Sentinel. So that could be a 3/3 creature next turn. I'll just carry on playing my flyers. So we've not hit our 4th land, which is a worry. Okay, here's a 3/3. Yeah, we did not hit a land. Oh well. We'll race him. We have 2 pretty decent removal spells. This doesn't have vigilance. No, that's good. Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah, 3/1. That gets to be a 4/3. Nice. So let's put another. Oh, now it gets in with 5 damage. This doesn't untap, unfortunately. So that is a sizable amount of damage. Okay, we actually top deck a forest. So instead of doing what I was gonna do, I could play Battery Bearer. Nice big chunky blocker. Or I could play Hoarding Recluse. I'm going to play the big chunky blocker and swing in over the top. If he's got removal, he's got removal. Four cards left. Aeronaut Cavalry. Okay, he has a 3/4. That's pretty solid. Okay, he makes that too big for me to deal with. So I take 4. Okay, is it time for a Weakstone Subjugation? Yes, it is, because he might not attack with this next turn. Okay. Don't pay 3, please. Interesting. We could try and race him a little bit here. He's got 7 power. That doesn't get... Cause I could... And welcome back, guys. Had an unfortunate interruption there. Unfortunately, my hard drive actually filled up and ran out of room. So it cut off the end of my event there. But I can report good things. We had a good start. I think it cut off when I was 4-0. I won that game, and then I lost 2. It was looking bleak. I thought, oh, that's it. But I won the last 2 games, so I finished 7-2. So I thought now I've cleared some space, I'm going to come back and just talk about the deck a little bit. It's, I'd say, an unusual deck because it's only got a couple of 2-drops. Or maybe three 2-drops if you count the Rootwire Amalgam prototype. And we just literally didn't get... We got hardly any 2-drops. Each colour had maybe 1 or 2. But it seems... I think in the format it seems fine. There aren't too many aggro decks. You can start a bit slower. There's of course a lot of artifacts that you can play on turn 1 and turn 2. A lot of things that sort of draw an extra card as well. So that is definitely one approach. So I'll start with Weakstone Subjugation. So yeah, we had 2 of these. This is really good. You got to watch out for the white enchantment. It's this one, Meticulous Excavation. This, just for 3 mana, you can bounce a permanent you control to its owner's hand. So, and I did run into that one time. I didn't think about this card, and yeah, this just that just counters Weakstone Subjugation basically, or turns it into a tempo card instead of a removal card. So be aware of that. Otherwise, very good. A lot of the time, it's removal for 1 blue mana, which is fantastic. The Bushwhack's a really nice one. We only use this to find land. If you have it in your opening hand, it's tricky to decide what to do. I think I went for the land on turn 1. I guess if you don't have any other removal, you could hold on to it, and if you've got like 3 land or something. We have the Citadel Stalwart for a bit of ramp early on. Not sure I used it for mana very often, but in theory that could be quite useful for that. We had the first of our flyers in the 2-drop slot, Zephyr Sentinel. 2/1 flyer with flash. Very useful, can potentially save other creatures. And I was also running 1 combat trick for 2 mana, Gaia's Gift. I preferred this to the Giant's Growth because this actually gives things reach, hexproof, and indestructible. I think that's a pretty good package deal, even if it's 1 more mana than a Giant's Growth. And the 3-drop slot, yeah, we have Stern Lessons. So this is a nice card, draw card. It gives you a Power Stone token, so you're ramping out your mana, and you're drawing into lands potentially to make those land drops. So it's really helping your early game. We had 2 Wing Commandos, which is absolutely fantastic. 2/2 flyer with prowess, so these did loads of damage. Very strong early threat. And then we had a couple of creatures on the ground. A Gothian Opportunist, which makes a Power Stone token. So yeah, again, really good ramp. Perimeter Patrol, which is a bit more threatening. It's 3/3, and its power can get boosted up. So I think 3/3 for 3 is pretty good, especially with a little upside there. I used the Might Stones animation. I've got a few ways of getting Power Stones. we've seen Stern Lesson, Argivian Opportunist there. It's not a lot of ways, but I decided it was enough to justify this card. I would say a few times it did just get stuck in my hand and I couldn't cast it. So maybe I was a little bit low on the old Power Stone tokens. I think it's, yeah, the Coilless Rock makes one. I suppose I've got the Might Stone and Weak Stone potentially as well. So it's only 4 Power Stone makers in the deck. So you probably feel happier if I had about 6. 6 or more, 6 to 8. So maybe this might have been just because it didn't have targets a lot of the time. This is probably quite dubious. Otherwise, if you can find the targets for this, it's fantastic because you're getting a 4/4 and you're drawing a card for 4 mana, which is a very good deal. I decided to include Take Flight, even considering that I've got loads of flyers already. It lets you draw a card on attack. You don't even have to do combat damage. So, seems like a good card. And I've got some big creatures that could use evasion, like Iron Claw Crusher, for example, or the Rootwire Amalgam token, which could potentially be, 15/15. We had no less than 3 Hoarding Recluses, so this is just the ultimate defensive card. 4 mana, and you get a 2/3 reach Death Touch. So it's not only sort of killing off those small flyers like Zephyr Sentinel, it's trading off with big creatures like Iron Claw Crusher, let's say. So, excellent card, and as a little added upside, you can put a card from your graveyard onto your library. I targeted my own graveyard because I thought I might get. There was one game in particular where I thought it would come down to who ran out of cards, so that could be important. Also, if you can shuffle the deck, then you can maybe get that. You can redraw that card a bit earlier. And if you're paying, attention, you can take an important card out of your opponent's graveyard and put it back on the bottom of their deck as well. Sometimes that's relevant. We also had Battery Bearer, so this is good. 3/4 for 4 mana. It's quite nice. Gives all of your creatures the ability to basically be a Power Stone and help cast artifacts. And it even lets you draw a card if you cast an expensive artifact, such with 6 mana. So I did have a couple. I've had Argivian Avenger and Iron Claw Crusher. Then we've got Desynchronize, so another sort of removal card. But it sends the creature something back to the top of the library. But you also get to scry too. It seems pretty nice. Coilless Rock, another flyer, 3/3 flyer with flash as well. So this could maybe gobble up a Zephyr Sentinel or something like that into the bargain. We have the Rootwire Amalgam, so it's a mythic with it's a 5/5 for 5, but you can prototype it to make it a 2/3 for 2. So pretty good stat lines, and then it's got this ability you can sacrifice it for 5 mana to get an XX, where X is 3 times its power. So the prototype version gives you a 6/6 haster. The full version gives you a 15/15 haster. Pretty impressive. The only it comes unstuck, of course, against blue bounce cards, because that will just kill a token straight away. So that was one problem I ran into today. The red blue deck drew his second bounce card. I didn't think he'd have a second one, but of course he did. And of course it's got reduced. It's I think it's called. I don't think it's called mind over matter, but it's something like that. And it gets reduced to 1 mana if you've got an artifact in place. So yeah. So that caught me out. But in theory, this is incredible. Huge amounts of damage. The Might Stone, the Weak Stone is pretty cool. It's like an upgraded meteorite. If you remember that card, that does it's 5 mana. It does 2 damage to something when it comes into play. This can do -5, -5, so it's a bit slightly more heavy duty removal. And if that's not relevant, then you can just draw 2 cards with it as well. And you can tap it for 2 artifact mana. Well, mana that can be used on artifacts and abilities, basically. So, basically two power stones. I had the Argivian Avenger. This is pretty cool. So 5/5 for 6 mana, but you can give it Flying, Vigilance, Death Touch, or Haste. You can give it all 4 if you want to spend 4 mana, but it loses a point of power and toughness temporarily for each ability you add. So you can spend the example from one of the games. I had 8 mana and I made it a 3/3 Flying Haster to try and finish the game, but yeah. It unfortunately got blown up by the red 5 damage instant, but there you go. And then the final card, Iron Claw Crusher. Another artifact creature you can prototype. So for 7 mana, it's a 4/6 that can pump something by its power when it attacks. Well, an attacking creature. So effectively, it's like an 8/6, right? It's 8. It puts 8 power on the board. You can prototype it for 4 mana, 2 green and 2, and it's a 2/5. So then it's only pumping something up by 2. So it's a 4. Still, a 4/5 for 4 mana's really good as well. And then in the lands, I had the Argoth Sanctum of Nature. So you can tap this and 4 mana to make a 2/2 bear. But you also mill 3 cards off the top of your deck. I think I only used this once or twice. I just had, whenever I drew it, I just had too many other things to do. But yeah, definitely in theory this could be quite powerful. Anyway, that's just a rundown of the deck. I thought I'll just add this at the end. So yeah, very happy with the outcome today. So I've had a good start this time. I went 6-3 in the first event, and I've just gone 7-2. So I will carry on and see how far I can get. Anyway, thanks for watching.